Chinese military has begun 3 days of military exercises off the coast opposite Taiwan. Officials say that they're a serious warning against what China calls Taiwanese separatists in collusion with external forces. Taiwan says it's detected several Chinese planes and naval vessels in the area. Chinese ships, including this one, were spotted near Pingtang Island, China's nearest point to Taiwan, and their mobilizations began hours after Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen returned from a trip to the United States, where she angered China by meeting the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Celia Hatton, the BBC's Asia-Pacific regional editor. And Celia, this wasn't entirely unexpected, was it, this reaction? But still, talk us through the significance of it.
Well, no, we were expecting China to respond. They've said all along that they were going to respond in some way to Tsai Ing-wen's trip through the United States. She was transiting after traveling to South America. She traveled through California and met with the current U.S. House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. So we knew that some pushback would follow. Beijing has always been unhappy when the leader of an island that it considers to be its own maintains quite high-level dialogue with the United States. However, Lucy, I've got to put this into context. I do think that today's response, China's announced 3 days of drills, are relatively measured compared to what we saw last August when Kevin McCarthy's predecessor, Nancy Pelosi, visited Taiwan. In contrast, today, we're seeing live fire drills. Yes, they're taking place relatively close, though, to mainland China's coast. We've seen some warplanes and ships cross the median line. That's the line that separates the Taiwan Strait, that narrow strip of water between the mainland and the island of Taiwan. However, most of those incursions have been relatively short. In fact, we're getting reports that many of the ships crossed the median line and then headed straight back towards the mainland. So we are seeing a bit of a measured response, and I think that's because Tsai Ing-wen traveled through the United States, relatively subdued meetings, in contrast to the visit by Nancy Pelosi we saw last August when she actually traveled to Taiwan for a meeting.
Right, that's interesting. I was just looking at some interviews with people in Taiwan, just ordinary folk reacting to this, and they seem quite phlegmatic about it, almost like we're quite used to this sort of thing now.
Yeah, we see that a lot in Taiwan, where people in Taiwan are sort of used to the rhetoric that goes on, the back and forth between Taipei and Beijing. They've kind of grown up to this, with this. I think also, this is also in response to the fact that these drills aren't that unusual these days. People in Taiwan are getting relatively used to hearing about planes crossing the median line, ships crossing the median line. I think, though, one thing that will raise alarm bells today is China's state media's use of the word encirclement when describing these military drills. That is a word that really does cause alarm in Taiwan. The idea that the Chinese military could simply encircle the entire island, perhaps at one point cut off supplies being delivered to the island, that kind of thing. That's what really worries people in Taiwan when we really start to think about the potential for some kind of military invasion. The word encirclement is worrying, and that's what the Chinese state media says the Chinese military is practicing today.
Okay, thanks very much, Celia Hatton there, the BBC's Asia-Pacific regional editor. Thank you.